DK Metcalf competes in the 100-meter preliminaries. He does decently enough. He finishes with a 10.37 time, 10 seconds, 0.37. He finished ninth in his heat, so last place in his heat. He finished 15th among out of the 17th that who competed in the U.S. Track and Field Golden Games, in the Distance Open in Walnut, California. My takeaway from this is DK Metcalf. I'm very impressed by your speed, but I'm more impressed by, your determination and, not being embarrassed. Like, he could have, 10:37 was really good. He could have done way worse than this and got embarrassed. He didn't finish. He finished last on his heat, but he didn't finish last overall. And all these people, that's all they do. They just train to be runners. This is their main. This is their main sport. This is all they do. They dedicate their whole lives basically to this. And for DK Metcalf, who's a professional NFL player, professional football player, to start training for a couple months and not finish last and not get destroyed out there, I think it just shows how much of an athlete he is. But that being said, 10:37, he wasn't close to finishing in a spot that would have gotten him into the Olympics. Because there is some people are really using hyperbole and saying that if he trains for a year or something, he could probably qualify to the Olympics. I think maybe he's really quick, and maybe if you give him a year, he'll finish a little closer. But I think he's just not built to be a sprinter at an Olympics. That takes nothing away from him. He's still a world-class athlete, and I think he has the potential to be elite wide receiver. He's already a really good wide receiver. He could push to be the best or the second best wide receiver in the NFL. And he's a specimen, especially because for him to be running at that weight, at that height is impressive, and it's super, super impressive. Don't take anything away from that. But there is levels to this, and these people are freak athletes too. Don't just think that NFL athletes are the only freak athletes out there. These guys are freak athletes too, and they wouldn't be able to take hits in the NFL like DK Metcalf does. So it's they all have their things that they're really good at. They all have their trade, and I think it was just ballsy by DK Metcalf. Like he said, he was not afraid to get embarrassed. He was not afraid to fail, and I think that's the thing I'm most impressed about DK Metcalf, that he was not afraid to fail. He wanted to try it. It was a dream of his to try to get into the Olympics, to compete at that level, and he competed. And yeah, he finished 15th out of 17th, but I think it was very impressive. And I think I'll use that in my personal life just to be motivation. Whenever I want to try something that I might be good at, but I don't know how good I really am, to not be afraid to compete with the elite players or the elite people. You never know. And DK Metcalf just shows a lot of heart. And if I was a Seahawks fan, if I'm a fan of the NFL, I think this just makes me more of a fan of DK Metcalf. It just shows his competitiveness. It just shows how much of a competitor he is. He just loves to compete. He's a competitor. He knows he's a good runner. He wanted to see how good he was against the other ones, against the best in the world. He's not there, but at least now he knows he got that itch. He got that itch out of his body. He completed something that he wanted to complete, and you always got to applaud someone for doing that. So shout out for DK Metcalf. Now the thing I'm curious about, if this gets other NFL players to maybe try to do this too. I'm thinking Tyreek Hill or anybody else, Ted Ginn Jr. on his day, or anybody. But DK Metcalf, this was fun. It was fun to see. It got the sport of track and field a lot of headlines because everybody was covering this. All the NFL media outlets were talking about this. I saw it a lot on Twitter. So it gave track and field a good spotlight. It gave him a lot of TV time. So I think this is good for the sport. Obviously DK Metcalf was not trying to. He's fast enough to where he's not trying to embarrass the sport, or he's not doing this just for publicity. He legit thought that he could beat them, that he could compete. We saw that he's not there, but I don't think this was an insult to track and field. He's a legit athlete, and he honestly wanted to try. He came out short, but props to DK Metcalf for trying. And now this got me a little bit more into track and field. I kind of want to watch a little bit more. So if that's, I'm sure some people took that away from this too. So shout out for DK Metcalf for getting track and field some attention.